In the beginning, the world was wild, untamed, and filled with endless danger. There were no cities, no homes, no language, no technology. Only forests, mountains, storms, roaring predators, and in the middle of this harsh world, the very first human beings taking their earliest steps. Today, we travel back millions of years into the ancient past to explore how humanity first began, how our ancestors survived, hunted, ate, traveled, evolved, and eventually became modern humans. This is the story of humanity's origin. According to science, human life began in Africa. Around 2 million years ago, a primitive species appeared, known as Homo habilis. They were much smaller than modern humans, with smaller brains and limited abilities. Yet they were the ones who started the long journey toward becoming us. Life for these early humans was extremely difficult. The weather was harsh, predators were everywhere, food was scarce, and disease was common. They were fighting for survival every second. These early humans had no permanent homes. They slept in caves, under large trees, or wherever they found shelter. Nighttime was the most dangerous part of their lives. Lions, leopards, wild dogs, hyenas, and other predators ruled the darkness. Children were fragile, women were vulnerable, and the responsibility of protection fell on the men. Survival was only possible if they stayed together. This is why early humans lived in small groups, because a lone human could never survive on their own. In the beginning, humans did not hunt. They scavenged. They searched for dead animals left behind by larger predators. With no weapons and no proper tools, they had no other choice. Their food consisted of fallen fruits, wild berries, roots, insects, and the meat of already dead animals. For water, they relied on rivers, lakes, streams, and rainwater. It was a simple life filled with constant movement and constant fear. But slowly, humans began to change. They realized stones could be held in their hands, and sharp edges could be made by striking stones together. This discovery changed everything. The first tools in human history were made from stone: small knives, hammerstones, and sharp flakes. These were the first inventions in human evolution. With these tools, humans began to hunt instead of scavenging. They learned to plan, to think ahead, to approach silently, to work as a team, and to strike at the right moment. This marked the beginning of humans rising above other animals. Their diet also evolved. They began to understand which plants were safe and which were dangerous. They learned which fruits gave energy, which animals were easy to hunt, and which were too risky. Over time, they added honey, fish, and eventually large animals like deer and wild cattle to their food sources. Humans also discovered how to climb trees for fruits and use smoke to scare away bees so they could collect honey. But the greatest leap came when humans discovered fire. At first, fire came from nature: lightning strikes, volcanic heat, or forest fires. Humans feared it, but were fascinated by it. Gradually, they learned to control fire, carrying burning branches into caves and keeping flames alive for protection. Eventually, they discovered how to create fire themselves, by rubbing dry wood together or striking stones to create sparks. Fire transformed human life. It provided warmth during cold nights, light in total darkness, protection from predators, and the ability to cook food. Cooked food gave humans more energy, which helped their brains grow larger and stronger. Fire didn't just save humans, it advanced them. With time, humans mastered the art of tool-making. They crafted sharper stone knives, made spears from wood and stone, shaped bones into tools, produced needles from animal bones to stitch clothes, and learned to scrape animal skins to create warm clothing. These inventions placed humans far above every other creature in the wild. Now they could hunt successfully, store resources, protect themselves from weather, and survive in harsher environments. Another major development was communication. Early humans used gestures, hand signs, facial expressions, and loud shouts to communicate. Slowly, certain sounds gained meaning. These sounds turned into simple words, which later formed sentences, and eventually, languages were born. Language became the strongest weapon of humanity. It allowed them to plan the future, educate their children, share stories, pass knowledge, and build culture. Over time, humans began to explore beyond their homeland. Hunger, changing climate, lack of animals, and natural disasters forced them to move. This led to one of the greatest migrations in history. Humans traveled from Africa into the Middle East, then into Asia, Europe, the Americas, and eventually Australia. Every region taught them new lessons: how to survive cold winters, how to live in deserts, how to face dense forests, and how to adapt to ice ages. Then, around 200,000 years ago, a new species emerged: Homo sapiens, the modern humans. They had larger brains, creative thinking, imagination, and problem-solving skills. They made art, painted on cave walls, created musical instruments from animal horns, developed early forms of religion, practiced rituals, and started forming communities. They were no longer just surviving, they were beginning to live with purpose. The modern humans shaped the world. They developed speech, culture, cooperation, and innovation. They crafted better tools, used fire with mastery, hunted strategically, and raised families. Over thousands of years, they built the first shelters, then villages, then civilizations. From the earliest caves to the skyscrapers of today, the entire journey of humanity traces back to those first humans who walked the earth with courage and curiosity. Everything we are today, our technology, our cities, our knowledge, is a result of the struggle, intelligence, and determination of those ancient humans who refused to give up. They fought wild animals, harsh climates, and endless challenges so that one day their future generations could thrive. Today, we stand on the foundation they built. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. This is your host signing off. See you in the next historical journey. Goodbye.